Drug abuse and prevention.
And now, we are going to talk about drug abuse. So, what is drug abuse?
Drug abuse or substance abuse refers to the use of certain chemicals for the purpose of creating pleasurable effects on the brain. There are over 190 million drug users around the world, and the problem has been increasing at alarming rates, especially among young adults under the age of 30. Causes of drug abuse. Causes of drug use. Drugs of abuse are usually psychoactive drugs that are used by people for various listening speak now different reasons, which may include peer pressure.
Peers are people who are part of the same social group. So the term peer pressure means the influence that peers can have on each other. Although peer pressure does not necessarily have to be negative, the term pressure implies that the process influences people to do things that may be resistant to or might not otherwise choose to do.
Family factors.
Drug addicts came mostly from incomplete and pathological families. The main family factor of drug addiction, according to the result obtained, are family atmosphere, strength of family ties, sense of family happiness, structure of authority in the family, and alcoholism. In families where there is wrath and love, children do not or rarely take drugs. Drug addicts come from families where there is ill will and hostility.
Stress.
Stress can cause changes in the brain like those caused by addictive drugs. This suggests that some people who experience stress may be more vulnerable to drug addiction or drug relapse. Those who become addicted to drugs may already be hypersensitive to stress.
Some of the most commonly used drugs are marijuana. This mild hallucinogen, derived from the cannabis sativa plant, is the most commonly abused illegal drug in the United States, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. When used, usually through smoking, marijuana acts as a central nervous system stimulant. It speeds up heart rate and raises blood pressure, Dr. Collins says. It can stimulate the nervous system enough that some people become paranoid while taking it, and it can also dull the memory, making it hard to concentrate or remember things. Cocaine. Cocaine is a powerfully addictive stimulant drug made from the leaves of the coca plant native to South America. Adding synthetic opioids to cocaine is especially risky when people using cocaine don't realize it contains this dangerous additive. Opiates. Opiates are alkaloid compounds naturally found in the opium poppy plant Papaver somnifera, the psychoactive compounds found in the opium plant. Alcohol. Alcohol is classed as a sedative hypnotic drug, to which means it acts to depress the central nervous system at high doses. Alcohol can act as a stimulant, inducing feelings of euphoria and talkativeness, but drinking too much alcohol at one session can lead to drowsiness.
So how does addiction start? Here's what happens. A teen has a lot to cope with and poor coping skills. They try alcohol and drugs. Maybe their brain chemistry causes them to be more susceptible. The teen's brain learns that, at least in the short term, the alcohol or drugs gives them a way to temporarily neglect or forget the stresses in their life, which is a flawed way of coping. That can become their identity. The party friend who is willing to try anything, or the friend who can get you drugs. It might give them a way to fit in socially and have fun. It might help them for a moment forget about their stress. The teen starts using alcohol or drugs more frequently. This is where things come apart. Repeated use does three things. The teen's brain has learned that, in the short term, alcohol and drugs can help them cope. With repeated use, this bad learning loop becomes ingrained and deeper. The teenager gets to the point of automatically reaching for alcohol or drugs when they're stressed, without even thinking about it. With repeated use, the chemicals in alcohol and drugs also change the brain, making the teenager even less self-aware of how they're going off the rails. And repeated use makes life situations worse, which just increases stress and feeds into the negative loop. Without a change, this path ends in addiction, jail, or death. 1 out of 10 adults struggle with addiction. Addiction leads to broken families, broken promises, and broken hearts. And currently, an increasing number of deaths.
Substance abuse prevention, also known as drug abuse prevention, is a process that attempts to prevent the onset of substance use or limit the development of problems associated with using psychoactive substances. Prevention efforts may focus on the individual or their surroundings. Ways to prevent drug abuse. Effectively deal with peer pressure. In these cases, you need to either find a better group of friends that won't pressure you into doing harmful things, or you need to find a good way to say no. Deal with life pressure. To prevent using drugs as a reward, find other ways to handle stress and unwind. Take up exercising. Read a good book. Volunteer with the needy. Create something. Seek help for mental illness. Those with a mental health illness may turn to drugs as a way to ease the pain. Those suffering from some form of mental health illness such as anxiety and depression should seek the help of a trained professional for treatment before it leads to substances. Examine every risk factor. If you're aware of the biological, environmental and physical risk factors you possess, you're more likely to overcome them. Keep a well-balanced life. People take up drugs when something in their life is not working, or when they're unhappy about their lives or where their lives are going.
CNB is seeing more cases of youths abusing drugs and introducing them to peers.
So how do we prevent this from happening? How do we prevent addiction? Here's how. First, a message for parents. Spend concentrated one-on-one time with your kids, particularly when they get into middle school and all through high school and college. Truly listen to them with love and without judgment. Understand what they are coping with. Help them get through. If you need help, talk to an experienced professional. Do not wait. Act now. And remember, your child could simply be experimenting and have a brain more susceptible to alcohol and drugs. It could be that simple and scary. Or your child could be going through something that you're not fully aware of. There is inevitably a lot going through their head. When you get in a car accident in the wintertime, the accident doesn't happen when you hit the telephone pole. It happens 200 feet before that when you start skidding on the ice. Your child may be skidding right now, and neither they nor you even recognize it. Act now. Do not assume they can self-correct. They need an established support system. Listen to them and help them immediately. Now, a message for teenagers. You are not alone. It may feel that way. Who else could be going through this or having these thoughts? But whatever you're experiencing, many others have experienced this too, and they've come out happy on the other end. Do not take on the identity of the party friend. It will kill you. You can find an identity without drug and alcohol dependency. Your true identity, a better identity. Finally, be open to receiving help from your family, a friend, or from a professional, wherever it comes from. When your body has an illness, you see a doctor. When your body has an injury, you see a physical therapist. But what about your brain? When you're on a bad path, a therapist can help you get on a positive one. The therapist can help you step back, gain perspective, and develop strong coping skills, no matter what life throws your way, like a personal trainer for the brain. Getting help is a strength, not a weakness. You deserve to be truly happy. You deserve to be comfortable with your own thoughts. You can be.
Thank you for watching.